Your normal might be symptoms, and your gut quietly runs the show. Most people don't wake up thinking, today I'm going to fix my gut. They wake up thinking, I'm tired again. Why am I bloated? Why do I feel foggy? Why do I need coffee just to feel like a human? And here's the dangerous part. When you felt that way long enough, your brain starts calling it normal. But common isn't the same as normal. And one of the biggest traps in health is living inside a baseline that's already broken. A lot of people assume health problems show up dramatically. They don't. They show up quietly as tolerable discomfort, as a workaround, as things you push through. And when that becomes your baseline, you stop asking better questions. One of the most important ideas in health is also one of the simplest. Most people don't actually know what feeling good feels like. If you've been constipated for years, that feels normal. If you're bloated after most meals, that feels normal. If your energy crashes every afternoon, that feels normal. If you rely on caffeine just to get going, that feels normal, not because it's healthy, but because it's familiar. And when your reference point is already inflamed, depleted, and under-recovered, everything gets misrepresented. You start measuring your life against a broken baseline. So the first shift isn't a supplement or a protocol, it's awareness. It's asking, what has my body been trying to tell me that I've been tolerating instead? The gut doesn't explain everything, but it's hard to overstate how often it's part of the story. This is where food is broken down, where nutrients are absorbed, where neurotransmitters are built, where hormones are supported, where the immune system is trained. And it's also the barrier between the outside world and your bloodstream. When that barrier is functioning well, the immune system stays calm. When it's disrupted, when permeability increases, the immune system has to work harder. Proteins that should be fully broken down can slip through. The immune system sees something unfamiliar and it responds. If that happens occasionally, no problem. But if it happens repeatedly, day after day, meal after meal, the system stays on. And an immune system that's constantly activated is expensive. It costs energy, it drains clarity, it slows recovery, and that's how digestive issues quietly turn into fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, skin issues, and mood changes. Not because something is wrong with you, but because the system is overloaded. There's a pattern that shows up again and again. The foods people say they could never give up are often the foods worth examining most closely. Not always, but often enough to matter, because when a food becomes part of your identity, it stops being evaluated as a variable, and you stop asking, how do I feel after this? And start saying, that's just me. But your body doesn't care about identity. It responds to inputs. So one of the most powerful health skills you can build is connecting cause and effect without emotion. How do you feel after eating this? How do you sleep when you eat that? What happens to your energy, mood, and focus when some things become consistent? That's not obsession, that's literacy. One of the biggest mistakes people make is starting with complexity. More supplements, more testing, more protocols. But often the most effective starting point is simpler. Stop doing the things that are holding you back and give the body what it needs to recover. When inflammatory triggers are reduced, when digestion improves, and when immunity systems get a break, a lot of systems improve together. Not magically, but mechanically. The body is remarkably good at healing when it's not constantly fighting upstream. And there's another pattern worth naming. Men tend to wait. We wait until it's bad enough, embarrassing enough, or painful enough. We'll train harder, push through fatigue, ignore symptoms we'd never accept in our kids or partners. That's not strength, that's inefficiency, because ignoring a warning light doesn't make the engine stronger. It just shortens the window you have to intervene early. If you want a simple checklist, not as a diagnosis, but as feedback, here it is. Pay attention if you're bloated frequently, you're gassy most days, you feel heavy or foggy after meals, bowel movements aren't easy or regular, you rely on stimulants to turn on. your skin stays inflamed, your energy or libido feels off for your age, or you're always pushing through. Those aren't character flaws, they're messages. You don't need to turn your life into a science experiment, but a short reset can tell you a lot. For 2 weeks, eat simpler whole foods more often. Prioritize protein and fiber, reduce ultra-processed foods and alcohol, and hydrate consistently. Walk daily, sleep like it matters, and then ask an honest question: what changed? Even a 10 to 20% improvement gives you leverage, proof, momentum. And if you want to get deeper after that, that's when professional guidance and targeted testing make sense. If your baseline is broken, your whole life becomes a workaround. But when your baseline improves, everything gets easier. Your energy, your focus, your patience, your confidence. So don't wait for a crisis to take your body seriously. Start listening to the quiet signals now while you still have room to change the trajectory. If this idea resonated and you want to explore more deeply with me, I have a full conversation with Bryan Hardy on Uncommonly Remarkable in Conversation. The link is below. This is Uncommonly Remarkable. Thanks for listening.